I come from shepherd's pie and Sunday roast, jerk chicken and stuffed vine leaves. I come from travelling through my taste buds, but loving where I live. Hello, welcome back to GCSE Litcast. In this episode, we're going to be exploring I Come From by Dead Atta. So, hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be exploring I Come From by Dead Atta and just looking at some of the context and the main themes and ideas within the poem. So, written in 2019, Dead Atta, I Come From, and he is a British poet of Greek, Cypriot and Caribbean heritage. And he constructs this kind of mosaic of selves to explore the idea of identity, belonging and the evolution of himself and what he thinks of himself and what he thinks others think of him as well. So the poem presents identity as ultimately, rather than being something that's fixed from birth, something that's cumulative, that builds over time, and that is a fluid process as well. So the idea of identity and heritage is explored. The speaker's selfhood is built from these cultural building blocks, such as diverse foods with British, Caribbean and Greek food, and then also various flags representing different communities that he feels he belongs to. There's also a sense of journey and transient. The speaker repeatedly identifies as a traveller and a nomad, using a passport and an ever-ready suitcase to define a home that is wherever I lay my head. Then we've got the idea of relationships and absence in there as well. So identity is shaped by presence, but also lack of presence, specifically when referring to Atta's parents. So the marvellous mother, lovely kind of alliteration there to create that sense of satisfaction, who provided care, and the prolonged absence of a father by contrast. We also have this idea of creative agency. So the speaker finding success through connection, signalled by strangers' smiles, and acknowledging kind of the privilege of being able to record his story when many others can't. And we've got that lexical set or that semantic field of writing and publishing in there too. So Atta uses this kind of declamatory tone and very specific devices to give the poem its quality that feels sort of testimonial in a way. The key device within this poem is the anaphora or anaphora, that repetition of the phrase I come from at the start of most lines, and that ultimately forms sort of the spine of his poem and the layers and layers of identity that are kind of added there. So the idea of identity as a mosaic is very much explored. The power of accumulation as well. So rather than this linear narrative, the poem is giving us lots of these biographical snapshots that layer on each other to show that idea of identity layering over time. And this is all kind of explored in the background of the poem's context. So the poem was published in 2019 as part of an Amnesty International UK project, and its primary goal was to celebrate diversity and multicultural identity. And Dead Atta's perfect for this, as we mentioned. He is a British poet of Greek, Cypriot and Caribbean, specifically Jamaican heritage. And much of his work explores Black queer identity and the complexities of being in that context where you're not quite sure where you belong or who you belong to. And there's cultural traditions in here. The poem draws on African oral storytelling traditions, specifically, as mentioned in the poem itself, the role of the griot, a West African historian and storyteller whose job it is to sort of preserve communal memory and culture as a result. And because it was created for a human rights organisation, the poem emphasises the dignity of every individual story and the importance of recognising diverse origins without judgment. It's a deliberately very, very inclusive poem. So that's everything on I Come From by Dead Atta for you. A little bit of context and some of the main ideas as well. Tune into the next one where we'll be talking about some context and big ideas of the next poem in the anthology. Thanks very much and see you then. listening to Litcast, the podcast for GCSE and A-level revision. The music that you hear in this episode is called Galaxy and was written by Ixon, and you can find the rest of his music on SoundCloud. If you found the podcast helpful and would like to support us further, then the Ko-fi link in the description will give you an opportunity to tip us. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.